Welcome back, folks. The Ray Lucia Show with bad finger and bad guests all at the same time. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Did you know that was bad finger? Is that bad finger? Yeah, of course. Okay. He's just giving me the middle one. Welcome back. My special guest, Gene Pastula, certified financial planner. We go back, 25, 30 years, so we've known each other forever and ever and ever. He's a CFP. He runs one of the most successful insurance operations in all of the world, probably Southern California for sure, Westland Financial. But
that's scaling down pretty quick.
Yeah, I know. It went from the world to,
San Diego.
San Ysidro. But in either event, he also runs a website called Safe Money Monitor, which I highly recommend you go on and check out, because what Gene does is he monitors all of these other safe money strategies. Now, even though you once upon a time were involved as a CFP and did money management and all that stuff, you've given all that stuff up to focus on safe money stuff, correct?
Yes.
And so, your claim to fame is 25 some odd years ago, you actually invented, you created the linked benefits life insurance policy, which, if you're a person of means, you absolutely have to do. And if you're middle class, it ain't a bad idea to do. So talk about that real quick.
Yeah, well, it's, obviously long-term care is the largest financial crisis that an individual can face in retirement, particularly. And the only way that we could do that, to take care of that in the past, was to buy a long-term care insurance policy nobody likes. And so what we did was we found a way to take life insurance, which creates a huge amount of money when you die, and just tweak it a little bit, and so we can pay that huge amount of money before you die if you need nursing care.
So an accelerated death benefit. So if you put, and I'll use the $100,000 example, you've got $100,000 sitting in your savings account that you're holding on to. And one of the things that I've learned, because I've had like $3,500 in a money market fund from an old mutual fund company for 25 years. I've never, ever touched it. And that's my emergency money. Well,
3,500?
I was going to say 25 years ago or 30 years ago, whenever I started that thing, that was a big emergency fund for me, my friend. So you can tell he's one of the elites out there, where that's peanuts to him.
It's a night out.
What's interesting is it's still not much more than what I put in. Maybe I put in a couple of grand. Maybe it's 3,500 now. I don't know, but I still haven't touched it. People tend to not touch their emergency fund money, even if there's an emergency.
I'm going to write, I was thinking about that. In fact, I woke up thinking about that this morning. Interesting. I'm going to write a paper to try to explain how I think about money in retirement. It seems to be totally different. I told you in the break that I was the people's CFP,
right?
Because all of the stuff, which is fascinating and extremely important when you get down to the to the crux of it, but to begin with, it's about trying to get a lifestyle that you can use your money to get a lifestyle that you can enjoy, that you can be as relatively stress-free as possible and as certain as possible in a retirement, so that you're going to be able to do this as long as you live. And in that whole process, the one thing is long-term care that crops up, and statistically, eventually, over half of us will need it for some reason. So the idea is to just to use these various products that are available, not necessarily as they're printed on the brochure, but that are that can do a job. And what life insurance does is it turns a relatively modest amount of money, either on an annual basis that you put in or lump sum moving from one pocket to the next, into a whole bunch of money when you die. Well, what's to say you have to wait until you die if you get to a place where you really need that money in the last couple, 2 or 3 years before? And that way, when you take that approach and say, I can use that money for care, then you also know that it's not a use it or lose it thing like most other insurances are, and long-term care insurance is typically one of them. That's the biggest objection that people have. So now we have a way where you can invest, and legally that isn't the proper term for paying insurance premiums. But when you look at it on your balance sheet and you look at what you're putting in versus what is going to come out, I don't know what else you call it but an investment, because it's got a rate of return and it's tax-free and it's guaranteed, and I mean, it's a good deal.
Here's the part that I love about it, because so many people want to hoard that savings account. They don't want to touch it. It's there. It's their security blanket.
And they don't use the money.
And they don't use the money. So you take the money that's in the savings account in XYZ bank and you move it over to a savings account with the Bank of Pastula, we'll call it, or some big A-rated insurance company that's going to be around probably longer than most every bank in this country. And you still have access to it. It's still an emergency fund. You can still use that money any way that you want to use it for an emergency. But we know this from experience. Just like my $3,500 has been sitting there for 25 years, your $100,000 is going to be sitting there for 25 years, even if an emergency pops up, because what most people do is they figure out a way to finance the emergency when you have that level of means, to finance the emergency out of their current cash flow or current income, or they just cut back a little bit, make payments or whatever. The emergency fund doesn't leave, so why not have a multi-purpose your emergency fund?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Somewhere along the line, all of us got the idea that once you give money to an insurance company, it's gone unless you can find a way to make a claim. And in this particular case, that is, I mean, life insurance is designed to pay a benefit someday,
right.
No matter what, because it may be a new concept to a lot of people, but you're not making it out of here alive. And the life insurance is there to pay when that happens. And all we did was get the insurance companies to say, oh, okay, I mean, if they're gonna, that's, you go into a nursing home at the age of 82, you're probably not going to come out upright.
Here's the way I look at it. I look at it, and I always use 100,000. It can be 20,000, it can be 500,000. So please,
or
folks,
it can be 5,000, 10,000 a year.
A year, you can make payments. But let's just use this to stay in context. I have this $100,000 right now, and it's earning me 0.5%. So I'm making $500 on it. I need long-term health care, so I go out and I find a policy that's going to cost me $4,000 or $5,000, right? Because depending on your age, that's probably about right. So say it's $4,000. So there's $3,500 extra dollars that I've got to come out of pocket to fund my long-term care. The $500 I'm getting in interest, and the $3,500 I got to pay out of my pocket to come up with $4,000 to buy the long-term care policy. On the other hand, I get the long-term care policy thrown in for free, basically, and it's costing me nothing. So that's tantamount to a net rate of return to me of 3.5%, which is 7 times 700% what I'm getting in the bank right now. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and that's the way I look at it too. And I bought a solar system for my, this is not insurance, but I bought a solar system for my roof.
Right.
All right, and I paid $14,000 for this solar system, and everybody says, well, oh, okay, well, how long is it going to take you to get that money back in savings for electricity? I said, doesn't matter. I had $14,000 sitting in a bank that was earning me 0.5%. And now I take it, and I'm earning now $300 a month in electric payments I don't make.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So what do I care?
If you're going to stay in the house for a long time,
I'm going to
it's like an annuity.
Years, sure, at least.
Could you take $14,000 and buy an annuity that gives you $300 a month? Of course not.
I mean, it was just,
I never thought about that. You should go in the solar business. Hey, fellas, call some solar companies. Let's get a solar sponsor here. All right, thanks. Gene Pastula, certified financial planner. If you want information on this, by the way, and he doesn't twist arms because he's already a rich guy. But seriously, you need to look at this. As I said earlier, if you're a person of means or in the middle class, you know who gets screwed the most, pardon my French? Who really gets hosed are the middle class. The middle class individuals, because they work their butts off, they put a little bit of money away, they accumulate $200,000, $300,000, if they're really blessed, $500,000. And something happens, they go into a nursing home, they need home health care, and poof, the $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 vanishes. And they've got nothing left for their survivor, and certainly nothing left for their kids and grandkids. This can solve that problem. Go to safemoneymonitor.com. Safemoneymonitor.com. Gene Pastula.
This executive summary.
Oh, you've got it.
Send you an executive summary.
There you go.
That'll explain it, and then you can decide if you want to go any further with it.
I think the executive summary is really good. I know you sent it to me the other day. It's fantastic. We'll take a break, come back with more of the Ray Lucia Show. Your emails are coming up next. 844-RAY-SHOW, the number, raylucia.com. Click on the Ask Ray button and shoot me an email. I'll be back.